Hi, it's been a while, and I wanted to get back here because I had a meeting downtown today, downtown Chicago, and so I stole an hour and I went to Atlas Stationers because life has been really busy, and so in order to try and find a calm moment, I have gotten back into journaling and writing. I've always been a writer, and I also recently just turned 51, and part of turning 51 means you revisit all the joys in life and you see what's brought you joy. And for me, that's always been writing. When I was in high school, college, I wanted to be a writer, and I still am a writer, but just not as much, not as probably with more intention now. But as a result, everybody for my significant events would give me a pen. So I have a lot of pens. I've got this Waterman pen and pencil set, which is very beautiful. So these are from the 1990s. I have three beautiful Waterman fountain pens. So we've got a gunmetal, we've got kind of like two enamel. This is a tortoiseshell, and this is kind of like a dark green. And this has actually been my favorite pen, though I need to get it repaired. This is a Parker Duofold ballpoint from the 1990s. But when I was looking at these, I do a lot of typing now on keyboards, and I was like, I miss writing, the actual form of writing, and I think that it's a lot freer when I write. So for my 51st birthday, I wanted to treat myself to a fountain pen, and since I was downtown, I wanted to stop at Atlas Stationers because I knew that you could test out a bunch of different fountain pens, and the technology has changed so much from like the 1990s that I knew that I wanted to see things. And I had always been kind of a cartridge kid, and there's a lot of new ink technology out there, so I just wanted to be able to test everything out. So I went to Atlas to find a fountain pen, and that turned into a huge haul, so I figured I'd share it. All right, so to start off, the first thing I got was an A6 Midori notebook. Why did you just get a plain notebook, you might ask? Well, let me show you. I also have this beautiful Hermes agenda cover. This is the Ulysse PM, and it is a weird size because Hermes wants you to buy their notebooks, which are like, I think $65 a pop at minimum, which is totally fine, but I didn't want to spend $65 a pop for paper that isn't quite what I want. So I knew I had to find a hack. And thanks to another YouTuber, I realized that you can take a plastic cover, and in that plastic cover, you can poke holes in it, and then you can attach the adapter that comes with an Hermes notebook. And so that's what I did here. It was a little bit of a challenge finding the exact right adapter, plastic notebook cover that would fit, because an A6 apparently has some variation in sizing. So I will link, because this was like my fourth notebook cover that I tried. Some of the A6s were just a little bit too tall for this, but I absolutely love this, and it fits the Midori A6 perfectly, because the Midori A6 is just a little bit wider. I don't know why. Anyway, so I got that, and magically, this Estabrook magnetic pen holder, which was at Atlas, as you can see, is almost an identical match to my Hermes agenda. And so if that isn't like a sign to buy a new pen, I don't know what is. So I got this, and I can just attach it. I'll do it really quickly. I attach it to the back cover. I put it on upside down, but you'll see it later. I can just attach it to the back cover of my loop and then close it up as a perfect match. And there is my new Hermes agenda cover. Well, I guess it's new to me. I actually got it on eBay, which, by the way, great place to find these because it's so hard to find replacements, but this was just phenomenal deal. Okay, so this was the first thing that I got. I think it was, I'll look at my receipt. This Estabrook magnetic pen holder in Funky Lake, and that's the color of this, was $11.95, and we won't go over how much Illinois and Chicago taxes are, but this was fantastic, especially because I knew that I didn't want to stick anything onto my cover. I didn't want anything permanent because when I write, I want to be able to remove it so that it doesn't have a little bubble. Anyway, so because of this piece, I knew that I wanted to get a pen. All right, but while I was looking for my pen, I also ran into these clips, which I know everybody already has, but I also knew that I wanted them. These were about $5 each. They hold your journal open or your planner open or whatever it is that you're working on, and these were $5 a piece. They are by Penco. Blue, cream. Yeah, I got a theme going on, right? Don't worry, it changes. And then the other thing that I got, well, because if you get a new notebook, you kind of want to get stickers, decorate the front of it, right? So I got these new flake stickers. I also got these ones. Both of these I absolutely adore. My flake stickers, which are little bunnies. These are $7, which I don't regret because these are going to go on the cover of my Midori notebook that I put into my agenda. These were amazing. These are little wildflowers, which I'll also use to decorate the front of my Midori. Those are $3.50. What I do regret, because I thought they were going to be cheaper, were these Hobonichi date stickers. I love these because I was going to put these in the top corner of each one of my journal entries in my new notebook, and you are able to put the date on the top and then underneath just like a little note. So it could be the day, it could be the year, it could be your mood. And I thought that consistency and the little like splash of color on each page would motivate me to add stickers and imagery to my otherwise very dull writing, like my handwriting. But goodness, that turned out to be $12. And I don't know, jury's still out. We'll see. We'll see how I feel about that. I did get this stamp. I knew I wanted to get the stamp for a long time. The reason I wanted to get this is for two reasons. One, it had the, you can't see it, these 4 boxes, and then it also had these 4 stars. I want to use that for my book tracker. So every time that I read a book or listen to a book or watch a movie or a series or any kind of content that I consume, if I want to jot it down and give it a rating, this just adds some consistency to that record keeping. And then for the check boxes, I do a lot of lists, and having the consistency again is also really useful. I do have a stencil that I currently use. I don't know, this seemed a little bit more fun. Plus you can color it with your markers, and so I can add any color and it'll match my theme. So I enjoyed that very much. And of course, because I am a total sucker, I also got the little case that went with it. Why? I don't know. So apparently, let's open it from the bottom. This case right here, why did I get suckered into this? I was like, well, I'm already spending so much money. This case is supposed to fit this stamp. So I spent, oh my god, it's a good thing I'm hiding my face. This was a $20 stamp and this case was like $6. So together I spent like $26 just so I could have consistency in my check boxes and in my ratings. This is why I don't do financial advice. All right, and then I'll just show you this. I got ink for my pen. You'll notice that it is a Chi-Town shimmering ink in a kind of a darkish purple. I'll pull this out. This I knew that I was going to get. I already knew that I wanted kind of a purple shade. I work for Northwestern University. I'm also an alum, so I knew that I wanted some sort of purplish color. I also knew that I wanted bottle ink because I like being able to fill a fountain pen. I used to use cartridges, but kind of dull. This is a beautiful bottle. I'll do a writing test later, but there it is. And also Chi-Town because I am in Chicago. All right. And last but not least, I went in thinking that I wanted to get a TWSBI. I wanted to get a TWSBI because it had a high ink capacity, because it was relatively inexpensive, so I knew that I could throw it in my bag on a daily basis and get away with it. But then as I'm testing them out, and why Atlas is so awesome is because they have this table in the front where you can just test out all the pens and all the nibs. I also typically write with a Pilot Friction, a metal aluminum pen, so I like a heavier pen. I don't know why. I've always liked a heavier pen. Even when I was in high school, I used to write with like a metal mechanical pencil, like a heavier pen. It was the Pilot Shaker. I remember. I still have them. Those are a classic. So when I tried the TWSBIs, they're cool and they were trendy and they were a really good price point, but they didn't feel right. They didn't feel like they had that gravitas that I'm so used to. They didn't feel like they had that significance that I wanted from a heavier pen. They felt kind of much lighter. So when I write in my planner, I usually write with this, and this is a Pilot Friction, but it's a Japanese import. I don't even know where it's from. I have 3 of these because I'm so afraid they're going to discontinue them. But it's a metal body, and it's pretty hefty for a ballpoint. So to go from that to like a TWSBI plastic body, it felt light. It felt different. And when I moved from a ballpoint to a fountain pen, I wanted something more substantial. It's because I want that experience to mark a change in my writing. So in my planner, I'm usually on a ballpoint because it's practical and it's fast. But if I'm in my journal, I want it to be thoughtful and reflective. So I kind of want to slow down a little bit. So when I was writing with these pens, and I thought I was going to get a TWSBI, I said that I mentioned that I liked writing with a heavier pen, and so the guy that was helping me was phenomenal, because I also mentioned that I hadn't written with a fountain pen in a long time. He was like, why don't you try? And he brought up all of these metal body fountain pens, including some from Pilot, including some from, I gave him my price range, which is why, some of the Estabrooks, the Estes aren't in there. But the other one he brought out was from this company. I'm sorry, I didn't even know this because I'm so out of the game. Monteverde. So I guess this is an American brand. And he gave me a pen. I don't even remember which one it was, but it felt so good. I wasn't visually attracted to it. It was a little bit too contemporary for my liking, because a lot of the pens seem to be a lot more streamlined now and a lot sleeker and a lot slimmer, which is fine. It's just not my personal preference in terms of aesthetics. But I loved the way that it felt in my hand. I loved the weight. I loved how it fit, and I loved how it wrote. So I was like, okay, well, let's go take a look at this brand. And so we went over and we took a look at them. And as we were looking at them, I saw this one in the case, and it's a Dakota, and it's not even that expensive. I think it was it's like a $60 pen. $60? Yeah, it was $60. But I saw it and I immediately stopped because here it is. Look at it. First of all, it's smaller. So it's not quite a pocket pen, right? It's not a pocket pen. Going the wrong way. I'll hold it in the middle so you can see the difference. But it just seems, when you look at it, it just seems a little bit shorter. So this is like my old Waterman, and it's like a fingertips length shorter than a standard pen. And the other thing I loved about it was this band down here. That's just that contrast. It's so retro. It's so eye-popping. It reminded me, when I first saw it, it reminded me of a race car, of like an old race car. I loved the clip. I loved the bright chrome cap, and then when you open it, it's just a pull. There's no, it's so smooth and it's so seamless. There's a nib. I am a fine or extra fine, and in the Monte Verde Dakota, I definitely loved the fine. I felt it was a perfect fit for me. This is the pen without the post, but when you put the post on, this is what it looks like. It covers up the stripes, and it's a full size, and now it just looks like an olive. It just looks like an olive colored pen. The little stripes are hidden away. What I've learned since then, and he gave me a little bit about the history of it. So this is an American company. And this pen was, I think, a Japanese designer, but it was modeled after airplanes that were used in World War II to mark the airplanes that helped bring supplies to the troops towards the end of World War II. So it is a military inspiration, which is, you know, not necessarily me, because I'm not going to get into it, but I do respect those who are in service, and I do love history, and the fact that this had history woven into the design of this pen just made it even more special. So yeah, that's the one that I went with. Okay, so let me show you this. And also, it was a perfect size to fit in here, and I liked how the colors went together. Can't go wrong. Oh my gosh, I lost my pen clip. Alright, so I am going to put my pen clip on the back of my, I love that it's just magnet. That's genius. How did we not think of this before? And I'll just slide this through. It's not crooked, but you know, close that up. There you go. So that was my day, and it's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. And hopefully I'll share more about my journaling. But yeah, hope you have a good day. I'll see you later. Bye.